Godzilla!
Hey everybody, JTISREBORN here with my good friend Steve Games HD. Those of you who've seen him on this channel before, we did the Lords of Salem review.
Shaitan.
Oh yeah, that thing, the Christmas Story 2 review, commentary, and just a few other things I think he would appeared in.
Yeah, there's been a few.
But we're here to do the spoiler talk video for Godzilla, and I know I promised this thing like it's been like 3 weeks, so I think it's good and clean to go all out spoilerish. I wanted to see the movie a second time, and I did last Friday, so I've been busy. But I got some stuff here as well. I got the graphic novel. I got my Godzilla action figure. Oh, Godzilla, you knocked everything down.
Hey, Godzilla tears shit up. What can you say?
Got the Art of Destruction here and the Awakening thing. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the whole movie. I mean, Steve saw the movie twice, same with me, and I kind of like him better when he's like this.
Yeah, it just looks more official.
Yeah, it looks more professional.
Like more.
Better, I should say, but yeah, okay.
I was going to say, is this tail wagging around? They're pretty cool.
Yeah, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to go over basically the whole movie, spoil things and talk about things we like, things we might not have liked, and yeah, so let's first start out with the beginning of the film. So the movie starts out in 1999. Well, actually, it doesn't start though. We have the 1950s.
Yes,
like it's all the credits in here. Can you hand me that really quick?
Yeah.
Basically, what it does is it covers the ending of this when they launched the bomb on Godzilla. Yeah, so we just get a credit sequence, which was nice. We don't really get too many credit sequences anymore, which was good. Then afterwards, they cut to the Philippines, and Dr. Serizawa and his sidekick, I'm guessing, head to, yeah, like I said, the Philippines. There was like a mining collapse. You're free. Yeah. Feel free to jump in to help me like correct some.
No, I was just watching the thing of like bad CGI was on the TV.
That's claymation, but anyway, don't forget what we're watching on the TV while we had this background stuff. But yeah, Godzilla, you can stay right there, get your good side, but. Anyway, so they head to this mining shaft, and inside they thought they had a radiation pocket, but these were the spores where the M.U.T.Os were. And inside there was also this, like, skeleton. Now, the skeleton could be a few things. It's definitely not anything in here. No. It's not the M.U.T.Os.
No,
it's not the Shinomura, which was the kaiju that Godzilla fought in Godzilla Awakening. It's not that thing. It's this own, like, beaked thing. So it could be like possibly a nod to a M.U.T.O creation, because I saw the beak, which reminded me of Rodan, but like we only got like the skeleton, or it could have been like Manda or something like that. But anyways, so one of those spores hatches and like escapes, and it heads to the Janjira factory in Japan, where Bryan Cranston's character, his wife, and his son live. There's a few like Easter eggs at their house. There was a Mothra Easter egg.
Yes, I saw that.
You can see the words Mothra written on there, and in the classroom where young Ford Brody's at, you can see like the metamorphosis, and it's actually Mothra in the final part. So there's a few Mothra nods in there. So anyways, at this factory, Bryan Cranston, he's like, oh, there's something going on. Like, this isn't an earthquake. There's like some weird like sound patterns going on. And so what happens is the M.U.T.O, he sends his wife down there to go check out like what's going on with the reactor, see if it's okay. But then the M.U.T.O burrows underground, and it starts sucking the radiation, which causes a reactor leak. And so Bryan Cranston's like, no, my wife's still down there. And so he heads down there, he's like, put the doors on manual. He doesn't, so he ends up like his wife, she couldn't make it, so he ends up having to seal her in and watch her die, which was probably like the saddest part of the movie.
Yeah.
Because like, and then you get all these people, they're like banging on the door, like,
yeah,
no.
once you heard the bangs, you're just like, oh,
because he was like
so close, like
he was like screaming, because like he sealed his wife in there. He sent her down there, and I think, like, I knew his wife was going to die going into the movie.
Yeah.
But Bryan Cranston's the best actor in the movie.
Oh, by far.
Easily. I felt like, well, we'll get to, like, his role, what happened there. Like, so what happens is the factory collapses, young Ford sees this, and eventually they enter, like, 15 years later, and Ford's now a soldier in the army. He's a bomb disarmer.
Yes.
So he goes to his wife and son. Son's like 4. His wife's going to be playing his twin sister in Avengers Age of Ultron. So now when I see that movie, it's going to be really awkward because it's like, oh, that's his sister. Let me move the mouse so we don't like freeze real quick. But
yeah.
So that's what's gonna happen. Once he meets his wife and kid again, he's like trying to settle down, and then he gets a call from Japan. His dad had like gotten himself arrested, entered the quarantine zone. Now, for those of you who don't know, there was like, so Ford enters there, but they cut a scene out, which was supposed to be him, Ford, like talking to the original actor from the original Godzilla film, but I guess they cut it out to pacing. And I was thinking, they could have still left it in there.
They could have left it.
Yeah, so anyways, he gets his dad out of jail. And then his dad was tying him. He's like, now this like big conspiracy theorist. He's pointing, his whole house is decorated.
All sorts of all the postings for all the radiation, and everything
like
else.
Like a cover-up thing, because he believes it's a cover-up. He wants, because like the events that happened 15 years ago are happening again. He's like, I could prove it. I have my discs. I have my data. Because he's been basically like hard at work figuring out what's been wrong with this thing, because he was trying to shut the thing down, but he was going to have a meeting first.
Mm-hmm.
So he ends up, him and his son end up entering the quarantine zone. They find out that like at the heart of it, there's no radiation. Like the radiation's been like sucked up by the M.U.T.O. So they go to their data, get their data, but then they're like taken in by the military.
Yeah, and then arrested.
Yeah, so Bryan Cranston and Ford get into like where Janjira used to be. It's now like this big base to keep the military, to keep the M.U.T.O. One of the M.U.T.Os at bay, the flying one. There's two M.U.T.Os in the movie. There's the male, and then there's the female. So Bryan Cranston's in there. His son's still locked up in the vehicle for some reason, and he's definitely the best actor in the movie. He's being interrogated. It's a pretty good scene.
Has his Heisenberg moments,
Yeah,
his Heisenberg freakouts.
Yeah, definitely Heisenberg freakouts there. And Ken Watanabe's watching him, and then something goes wrong. The M.U.T.O. begins to hatch, starts killing everybody. Ford gets out of the vehicle. The M.U.T.O. I like how you get the size and scale of the thing. Basically, what it was doing was like feeding on all the radiation. It sucked it dry. That's why the land is like clear of it. And so the M.U.T.O. hatches, and Bryan Cranston gets killed. And basically everybody there gets killed, and it flies away. So Ken Watanabe in that end up telling like Ford about like what's going on here, and saying like, well, actually, what happens is you're like, Serizawa, do you need anything? The organization is called Monarch, by the way. And then so Serizawa is just like, I need them. And so he takes, by the way, I like the nod to the original by calling him Serizawa. I think that's pretty good. So Serizawa and his sidekick take Ford and like on his deathbed, Joe Brody, onto like the battleship at the USS Saratoga, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the USS Saratoga.
So they take him on Saratoga, and so his dad dies, which is like kind of a bummer because they set up the father-son dynamic. I felt like Cranston only lives, his character is on screen for 35 minutes. From the start of the movie, he's done at like the 40-minute mark. So.
Yeah.
Or no, the half hour, just over that mark. Like, there's like about an hour and a half left in the movie.
I wouldn't say it was 45 minutes.
No, I wouldn't.
A little shorter.
Yeah, it was 30 minutes, because like
30, half hour.
He was on screen for like, his character's in the movie for 30 minutes, and basically that's like after 3 minutes into the movie or so. So you got an hour and a half left of the movie basically, and then your best actor is taken out of the movie. I felt like. Aaron Taylor Johnson was alright. I don't think he's as bad as some people are saying, but he needed to bounce. If you're going to get rid of Bryan Cranston, you need someone like who's as interesting, if not more interesting than him, to like carry the rest of the movie. And they needed someone like more charismatic than Johnson. I think if they would have like cut a few of his scenes down and went to Ken Watanabe, then it would have been better. So Ken Watanabe breaks down like what's been going on, how like they had this all covered up about the whole M.U.T.O. thing, and then he ends up telling him like, I think the only thing that can stop him is Godzilla. He says it in the movie, like he doesn't say like Godzilla, he says Gojira. Like he kind of combines Gojira and Godzilla like into one word. We call him Gojira. So like he combines them into one word, and then everyone just starts calling it Godzilla, which I'm like, I knew they had to work it in. The audience, when I saw it, laughed.
Actually, the audience, when I saw it like opening night. I know you did too. Like, audience was clapping and shouting. It was.
They were laughing because like the name, it's so like inclined into pop culture that just saying the name is kind of funny. Just seeing it on screen, like I didn't laugh, but a lot of people around me did. But
I can see why though.
yeah. So, anyways, they go and what do they do? So Ford heads to Hawaii. He calls his wife saying that something happened to Dad. But then one of the M.U.T.Os picks up a nuclear submarine, like off screen, and takes it to Hawaii where it starts feeding. And then the military finds are like, oh my god, shh. And then meanwhile, Serizawa and them indicated like via like Joe Brody's research. Bryan Cranston's character was like he was researching the sound waves and that, and then they analyzed and like, oh, the M.U.T.O said something and something else responded, and then they're thinking, wait a minute, could that be him? Could it be Godzilla? See, Ken Watanabe thinks the only thing that can stop him, the M.U.T.O s, is Godzilla, and so Godzilla eventually, so the M.U.T.O starts attacking, Honolulu. It's pretty cool. And then I think the build up to Godzilla's first appearance is perfect.
Oh, it was done beautifully. Just with the little girl going toward the ocean and seeing
he like comes in, like full blown tsunamis coming. Yeah. It's just like he creates a tsunami, he's big, and then they just keep like showing you little bits and pieces of him. You get his tail, you get his. Then the M.U.T.O like blasts a plane, just crushing shit. Tsunamis flooding the whole city. And then Godzilla makes his big entrance. You get a big pan-up camera to his face, and he roars right into the camera. It doesn't breathe his fire until later in the movie. He roars right at the camera, and everyone's clapping, and you're like, yeah. And then it cuts away. First time I saw that, I was ticked off, because I
was a little mad, too. It's just like, I wanted to see the fight, and it just cuts away to a news report showing the rest of the fight.
Yeah, which is disappointing. I mean, like, I understand she's teasing you for something bigger, but I felt like they could have had just a little bit of fighting, and then maybe... But then again, you don't want it to go like Pacific Rim territory, where the best part was the fight in the city, and then this fight underwater just seems kind of underwhelming after you watch it.
Yep.
But the thing is, if they would have like had maybe a small, like 2 minutes of them fighting, and then cut to the news report footage, then I think it would have been better. It would have, because like they do a lot of teasing. The second time I saw it, I was fine with it. But the first time I saw it, I was like, I wanted a little more. You should have given me more. But it leaves you wanting like more near the end, which is good to want more, to not be like, that was too much. You could have taken it out. So afterwards, Godzilla and them, they fought in Hawaii. The M.U.T.O escapes. And then they find out that another M.U.T.O, who's been laying dormant, like the other spore they found in the cave from earlier, hatches and starts attacking Vegas. So that attacks Vegas. Godzilla's swimming. By the way, when he swims, he looks kind of like an alligator. I say when he swims. Yeah,
because like like the view from the ship when he's like swimming, you see his fins like pop out of the water.
His dorsal fins, yeah.
Dorsal fins, yeah.
And he's got some gills there too. So, by the way, Godzilla's design. I know I like his design. Is it my favorite design? I wouldn't say so, but it's a lot better than like some of the designs. Better than. I can go through the original movie. I like this design more. Well, the original movie's the original, so it's classic. So, plus the really second movie, a lot better. King Kong vs. Godzilla, a little bit better. Mothra vs. Godzilla, it's a tough one. Then you just, I'm not gonna go through them all.
Yeah, I mean you could, but
my favorite design is still like GMK, but this one's pretty good. He's definitely the biggest, but I like how he swims. So the M.U.T.Os in that, they converge on San Francisco. Ford is like, he's a bomb disarmer. And he finds out that, like, the way he can get back is by hitching a ride with the military. And then they end up in California where the warheads, they plan to use nukes to, like, destroy the monsters. Because the monster are lured with nuclear radiation, which some people are like, well, they feed on nukes, so what would it do? But the blast they're talking about, like, like, the blast would be so powerful.
Yeah, they plan on luring Godzilla and both of the M.U.T.Os to... I think it was it 20 miles off the shore?
Yeah, 20 miles or so off the shore. But, like, Ken Watanabe, like, one of my favorite parts of the movie is where he's talking to the general, or the commander of the Navy, or whoever, whatever, Admiral. I don't know exactly what it is.
I think it was General.
No, it's not General. It's the one who was like one of the guys in charge, who he talked to him. I don't know what he's something. David Stratham or whatever his name is. He was the guy in the trailer who's just like, what I'm asking for you. And by the way, that scene wasn't in there from the trailer. He's like, what I'm asking you is really dangerous. He's talking to him like, which was interesting. So, anyways, Serizawa tells him like basically like you guys haven't learned. He shows him his watch. He's like, it stopped ticking at this moment, and he gives the exact date. And the guy's like Hiroshima, and then he just kind of walks away and gives him a little nod. It's like, you guys haven't learned, have you? They survived the nukes the last time, but like he's like, I can't risk the civilians. So I like how they play with that a little bit, because the Hiroshima thing, that's the atom bomb is what Godzilla is. He's a symbol of nuclear destruction. That's what Godzilla is. And this one, he was already like basically the origin of Godzilla. Like if you haven't read Godzilla Awakening, he was a creature that since the dawn of time they fed on radiation. When the planet kind of like eased out a little bit, they went to the core of the planet to continue to consume radiation. That's their food source basically. It's like a way to stay alive. So I like that explanation. I'm like, hey, that kind of makes sense, logical sense a little bit for giant creatures such as Godzilla. So anyways, their plan is to transport these nukes. So Ford hitches a ride on the train like, hey, I'm a bomb specialist, I can disarm this thing, plus I need to get to my family who's in San Francisco. So it's all like heading one big point towards San Francisco. By the way, San Francisco has bad luck with giant monsters, because in Pacific Rim, the first shot of the movie basically is one of the kaiju destroying the Golden Gate Bridge, which Godzilla does. Godzilla does it better, obviously, but the Pacific Rim thing was cool. But needless to say, I will continue. So anyways, the M.U.T.O start destroying the city. They're ready to mate, and one of them takes the missile from like where Ford's at. And there's some really cool, chilling moments, like where they're on the bridge and the fog, and like the M.U.T.Os are just destroying everything in their path. It's all like building and building and building. And then finally, Godzilla like heads towards like the Golden Gate Bridge, and like I think it's cool how they build him up to his tail and everything.
That was the greatest
like his
Godzilla scene in the movie, I think.
I have one that I like more, but we'll get.
Or actually,
the Kiss of Death.
Yeah,
the Kiss of Death is the best thing in the movie. So, anyways, Godzilla like makes his entrance on the Golden Gate Bridge. Some people are having Godzilla is like he's like some people are like, oh, he's a hero in this movie. No, I'd say Godzilla like the anti-hero thing. He's just doing it. He doesn't care really about like the people. He's just there. He's a predator. You gotta look at Godzilla as like an animal. Some people are like, how can I root for him? He destroys the Golden Gate Bridge. He's an animal. It's like an animal sniffing a fence or something and just like hopping through it. I mean, sure, he could have swam under the battleships, but I think it's probably a little bit shallow there for a big guy like that. I mean, still, he's just like, he's curious. He's an animal. So he crushes through like the Golden Gate Bridge. Like the tanks are like as big as his hands. So he heads to shore, and then he's getting ready to have a battle with the M.U.T.Os, and they cut away. So this is where the Halo jump scene comes in the trailer, because the M.U.T.Os, they have like this EMP weapon that knocks out like all sorts of like planes and things. Electromagnetic pulse, basic science, what it does.
Yeah.
So anyways, the M.U.T.Os, they start attacking the city. Godzilla comes in, and they're ready to fight, and they kind of cut away a little bit, and then they do the Halo jump thing. Some people are like, oh, come on, don't do that again. I think there's a good amount of Godzilla in the movies. Like, this first time I saw it, I was like, I didn't think he was in enough. The second time I saw it, I'm like, okay. I was just wanting monster battles the whole time, because I've seen...
That's what everyone wanted, though, the first time they saw it.
But the second time, I think it's easier... I think I liked it more. I liked it more the second time I saw it, because I knew what was to expect, and I could like look at other things in the background. So they do the Halo jump scene, which is a pretty great scene. It's got the 2001: A Space Odyssey music going, and it's just really chilling and eerie, and it's atmospheric. It's great. And then they're flying down. You can see the other Godzilla fighting the M.U.T.Os and stuff. And so they go to the nest to disarm the bomb. So they get the nuke out. They can't disarm it. Their best idea is to put it like 20 miles offshore to run out of time. Ford, he goes back, and he destroys the nest. And by the way, some people are saying there was a King Ghidorah Easter egg when the gas is leaking in. Like, there was like a dragon skull thing. But that was just a Chinatown logo thing. Also, you got some shots of Godzilla where he goes right in front of the camera and just roars. By the way, it's kind of weird how his head does this, but but yes. So, anyways, they go and get the Ford destroys the nest, and this calls Mother M.U.T.O back. By the way, Godzilla destroys the other M.U.T.O. Like, I think hits him with his tail, like knocks him into the building, and like kills it.
Sick.
That was pretty cool. The monster battles are pretty cool. My favorite battles, I'd say, is this is different. I haven't really seen a monster battle at this scale, like on the big screen, because I know people are like, well, what about Pacific Rim? That was robots versus monsters, so the robots could add some different elements, like throwing ships into each other. These are giant, like, animals fighting. So it was still pretty good stuff. So anyways, they destroy the one M.U.T.O. Ford destroys the nest, and this calls Mother M.U.T.O back, who's the much bigger one. By the way, to distinguish them, the male M.U.T.O is the smaller one who can fly. The female one's bigger, but it walks and it's got like a sack of like eggs in that. It's like a parasitic organism. Godzilla gets his shit kicked a lot during this movie because it's like 2-on-1. So he goes and fights. So Ford destroys the nest. This calls the other M.U.T.O back. And then the funniest thing is when it looks over and it's like, it sees Ford, Aaron Taylor Johnson. It's like, you son of a bitch. You're the one who did this. I'm gonna fucking kill you. And then all of a sudden Ford's like, he's met his end. And then the screen, and he starts to like turn blue. And I'm like, here it is. Godzilla's tail. It starts to light up, goes all the way up. And then...
When I saw him turn blue, I'm just like,
here it comes.
Here comes the atomic breath.
It wasn't more like a plasmic beam. It was like a stream of fire. It kind of mixed both a little bit. It was like a lava spit type fire.
It's fucking insane.
It was a little different. It wasn't like a straight plasmic beam per se, like some of the movies. I like what they did. It was like fire. It kind of converges a lot of different things into one, but it wasn't more like it was a finishing move. But like they didn't like overuse it because Godzilla needs to store the radiation. But it was great to see. I clapped. I was like, yes, atomic breath.
I clapped and I shouted. It was amazing.
So the M.U.T.Os are off screen. Godzilla and then like they collapse one of the buildings. One of the buildings gets collapsed on Godzilla. And one of them, so Ford and then they take the missile out to the boat. Godzilla's like collapsed after like getting hit by a building. No, I think the other M.U.T.O was alive and he kills him. And then like he was still, I can't remember exactly.
Godzilla used his tail to
hit the other one. Like he was still getting double teamed, but he kills one of the M.U.T.Os, but he gets knocked down. There's a moment where he looks at Ford and he's like, and then the smoke clouds over him. So Godzilla. So the M.U.T.O heads out to where like the army soldiers are, like trying to take the nuke out to sea. There's like only a few minutes left. So heads out to sea, or is trying to head out to sea, and the M.U.T.O just like attacking the boat and stuff. Ford's like down, like the M.U.T.O just ate a bunch of people who were like firing missiles and machine guns at it. All sorts of chaos is going on. San Francisco is getting fucking destroyed. And then all of a sudden Ford's like trying to like be the hero and push it out to sea. He's got his family and that to worry about. He's like trying to be the big hero of the movie. And then all of a sudden the boat stops because the M.U.T.O's just looking down at it like, you're not getting away with my food. You fucked everything up. And then Ford's like, come on.
He pulls out his handgun.
And he's just like
trying to.
And he's just like, you know what? Screw it. There's no point. It's not going to do a damn thing. You're just doing it in a pissed off mode. Then all of a sudden, it's ready to eat him. The Godzilla comes in, hits the final M.U.T.O, and then he does you think he's going to do like the King Kong thing, where he like, you know how Kong like rips like the V-Rex's like mouth in the movie?
Yeah.
But no, Godzilla does something far worse that I've never seen him do. He takes its mouth, he starts ripping it open, he blasts his fire down the thing's throat, and it rips the head clean off its body, and it just like disintegrates. I'm like, good God, I've never seen Godzilla.
Jesus, man.
That was my favorite part in the movie, where he just rips the thing's head off, like melts it away, and I'm like, oh, that was great. That was a part I could watch over and over again.
And then the best thing about the ending was that after the M.U.T.O disintegrates,
they take the
he
bomb
does this huge roar and everything,
and then he collapses like, oh shit, I've had enough. They take Ford away. The missile gets launched out to sea, which I think is going to be a plot element in the next movie, where it wakes up even more monsters. That's what I'm thinking. Like, that's a prediction thing. Like, next movie they're doing that. Here, let me just do this a little bit so it doesn't go into sleep mode. So we've been talking for a while.
Yeah.
I'm thinking he's going to do that in the next movie. But, so, basically what happens after that is Ford gets reunited with his family in the stadium. Everyone thinks Godzilla's dead, and they're like, King of the Monsters, ? And then he moves, he wakes up. I'm like, that's not enough to kill Godzilla. Anyone who thinks he's dead hasn't seen, like, shit. So he was just kind of passed out. So he gets up, and everyone's like, oh. And then Ken Watanabe's like, ah. And everyone's just scared and, like, shocked. And he's like, he lets out one final roar, and then he heads out to sea, and then he just swims, like, and just goes down to the depths, and then that's basically the end of the movie. It's a good way to end the movie. I know a lot of people wanted more action, which I felt like it could have had a few more minutes, because I enjoyed it so much. It's different, like, the first time, yes. Second time, I was okay. I warmed up to it more, but I still think, like, maybe a few more minutes of, like, monster-on-monster action. Like, so a lot of people were disappointed because it cut away so much. Because, like, that's the way it is. We're so used to movies nowadays. They're like, everything, we want everything just like that. That's just the way audiences are. That's why movies like Transformers that do so well. I mean, they tried doing something different here where they give you, like, a slow, satisfying build. But the teasing could have been cut down a little bit, I'm going to say. I mean, you could have, I still would have been, like, all the way up to the build, I think. All the way up to Godzilla's build, the teasing worked perfectly. You get his first appearance. If they would have given us, like, maybe a 2-minute scene of him fighting and then cut to the news report and aftermath, I think you'd have a lot more positive things from a lot of people in this movie. That would have keeled them over just a little bit. Because, I mean, if they would have done that, that would have been just fine. So, overall, I still really like the movie. Easter eggs-wise, we had the Mothra's Easter eggs. We had... Well, people are saying King Ghidorah. I just say it's like a... I don't like... There's like... It was like a Chinatown thing. It was like the Chinese logo, so... Like the dragon logo.
I didn't see that. Oh, yeah. I mean, I plan on seeing it a third time, so I'll look for that.
Yeah, definitely those. Other monsters... Well, that pretty much concludes spoiler talk for it, for the most part. I mean, now we can see what they're going to do with the second movie. I know they plan on doing a trilogy of films. Mm-hmm. The movie's doing pretty well. It's not. I heard it's not going to sell as many tickets as the 1998 film domestically. It's going to have more money, but it's not going to sell as many tickets. But then again, what do you expect? Like the 98 film, it's kind of a bummer that this one is a lot better and it won't sell as many tickets. But then again, it's got a lot more competition now. Like look, you got X-Men, you got Maleficent, you just a lot of stuff. The movie overperforms like opening weekend, but then it had like a kind of like a quicker drop off. But I still think it's pretty good, and I look forward to Godzilla 2 and Godzilla 3 when they make them, because I know after Gareth Edwards directs the first ever Star Wars spin-off film, he's gonna go right back into Godzilla. So I'd say we're not gonna get a new Godzilla movie till like 2017 probably.
Yeah, I was thinking like 2018 even, because
I need it sooner than that. I waited 10 years. I need like 3 years is as much as I'm waiting. Toho might even go back to making them, but monsters in the second movie. I know you want to see Mothra.
Mothra, he is my favorite Godzilla kaiju monster.
Also, like I was hearing stuff in Japan, like certain like select cinemas, like in Asian countries, about a post-credit scene that had Mothra. We were hearing about this thing, and I have not found anything else on it. I don't know.
I haven't seen any clips of it on YouTube. Apparently what it was there was a bunch of winged M.U.T.Os flying around, and Mothra directing him, and like directing him with like his...
Or her, whatever Mothra is.
Yeah, whoever gender. And then at the end, Mothra makes like a tornado with his wings. Her wings, whatever. Yeah,
that's like the scene. I'm like, where does this come from? Somebody had us like, there's some websites in it, but until I see it, there's physical proof, because I doubt they do that just for cinemas like overseas.
They wouldn't just cut it out like that. I mean,
I'm like, I was waiting for that. I'm like, because like I've heard so many things about it. I can't confirm or deny it. I'd most likely deny it, but I'm just saying like where this even came from. I have no clue who even thought about this.
Yeah.
So I'm like, somebody had to like have thought about this. Like, here, I'm just gonna pull a big prank on you, everybody, by saying this. No, it came out somewhere. Mothra is definitely the one that's most likely going to happen. I'd like to see, like I said, I want to see Jet Jaguar. Maybe just on the TV as a little cameo in the background. Just like maybe one of the little kids is just watching like this funny robot 70s show and it has Jet Jaguar on there. I'll go nuts for that one. I just want an Easter egg at least. Space Godzilla, it's not going to happen. Destroyer is not going to happen. Megalon could be one. You could do a Megalon because he's growing with the Earth. Gigan, not going to happen. Still going to get the M.U.T.Os, but Biollante might work. Mechagodzilla probably won't happen. King Ghidorah, it depends on how they do it. Rodan and Mothra are your two most likely ones you're going to get. But still, we'll see. We'll see. Any more thoughts?
Honestly, I'd rate the movie 9.5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm. I give it like the 9s.
Because
there's some because it's still not my favorite. I still like GMK the best because I felt like that one had a great score. It had a lot of cool monster battles. It kept a serious tone. It was a lot more fun. I still like some of the older ones like Mothra vs. Godzilla and that. Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla Classic. I mean, this one felt like a Showa one where, like some people were talking about like not enough Godzilla. I still would like more, but there's enough Godzilla in the movie. The thing is that after Bryan Cranston and Ken Watanabe aren't in the movie, the other people aren't just as compelling enough. I mean, Aaron Taylor Johnson's fine, but he's not. What you need is somebody like, this is a strange example that some people might not like, but Independence Day, it had a lot of stuff going on. It's a ridiculous, fun, stupid, cheesy movie, but it had Will Smith in there, and it had like Jeff Goldblum, it had Bill Pullman, it had all these good like performances in this like movie that you wouldn't expect. So what Godzilla needed was another like someone along the lines of Bryan Cranston, or kept him in the movie maybe 30 minutes longer or something like that. Because, well, actually, you know what, he works up fine, but it's just the second half where he's needed a little bit. Maybe keep him like injured, and then maybe he passes away at the end of the movie or something along the lines of that. But I'm just saying, could have done a few things. But overall, I still like the movie. I look forward to seeing what they do with Godzilla 2 and Godzilla 3. I don't know what era you can call this. Is this like the... Some people are like coming up with the term the legendary era. But me, I'm just like, Like, because we had the show with the Hastening the Millennium. Now, like, people are wondering what to call it. I've heard the legendary era, the legendary trilogy. Something. It would be interesting to see what they do with here. But overall, like the movie.
Oh, I loved it. You know, I loved it better the second time. Just as pretty much Sean was saying, you know what to expect with the movie.
Yes, my Atomic War figure, which is pretty cool. I don't have like any figures, which is disappointing. I have comics and that, but I used to have toys. But yeah, so overall, pretty darn good. Glad I finally got to do the spoiler talk thing. And I don't know what else to say. My toy.
Love it, man. I love that thing.
Yeah, I mean, soon I'll get to talking about this, and I already did a video on that, like the Art of Destruction thing. But the Art of Destruction's pretty cool. Got a lot of cool stuff. This thing, eventually I'll do. I got other stuff coming out, like a 200 video, but I want to get this spoiler talk out of the way, so some people can see it. But overall, I'd say go check the movie out. I liked it.
If you haven't already, then why are you watching this video?
Go see it. I mean, it's still in theaters. Go see it before it's gone.
It's gonna stay in theaters another month or two at least.
Yeah, I mean, Amazing Spider-Man 2 is still in theaters. It's gonna stay in until you'll probably find it.
In fact, Captain America was still in theaters. I checked last week; it was still like at AMC. So I don't know.
Yep, so it's still in theaters. Overall, we both like the movie. I say check it out. Don't know what else to add. Don't know. There's still a lot more Godzilla stuff I can do on this channel. But I'll wait for the movie to come out on Blu-ray DVD so I can add to my collection. I have pretty much a complete collection. I just need the 60s, you know, the Hanna-Barbera cartoon, and I just need those Zone Fighter episodes which they need to release. And I think that's it. Also Godzilla Island, which is the action figure series, but I doubt I'll ever see a release of that. But overall, pretty cool movie. Anything else to add?
I think I'm good.
Alright, that concludes spoiler talk for Godzilla 2014. Thank you to everyone who sat and watched all the videos. My Epic Horror Fans Godzilla 2014 review, if you saw that. My 30 Days of Godzilla video thing, which took a long time to do. And now we can pretty much put a closure to this for right now. There's still a lot of stuff I want to talk about Godzilla related. Like the series is another one. Comics, video games, books, graphic novels, you know what I mean? So, it's not the end. Just think of it as moving in a new direction. But, only thing left to do is end this with the classic Godzilla roar, and thank you for watching. Bye-bye.